It is the dawn of the second century for America's national parks.
Clear.
We traveled to Great Duck Island, adjacent to Acadia National Park, with students from the College of the Atlantic, led by Professor John Anderson. His decision to pursue a career in natural resource conservation was inspired by hearing as a child that California brown pelicans might become extinct. He discovered the power of scientific research in wildlife stewardship and takes great joy in seeing his students inspired by park experiences.
Most people who come to Acadia think about Acadia as being just one island, which is Mount Desert Island. What they don't realize is the park actually owns or has easements on well over 100 islands up and down the coast between Schuylkill Peninsula and Penobscot Bay. And many of these islands are actually critically important habitat for nesting seabirds during the spring, summer, and into autumn. So we partner with Acadia National Park in both studying the species and landscapes of the park, and also in terms of working with the park in developing ways of informing the public of this really amazing natural resource that they have just immediately offshore. Great Duck Island is a nice example of the sort of collaborative work that we see here in Down East Maine. So we share the island with Nature Conservancy, State of Maine, and a private landholder. What we've been doing on Great Duck over the years is training generations of students in how to move around in seabird colonies, how to monitor nests up close and personal. So students train on Great Duck, and then they're in a position to really be of some use to the Park Service in getting detailed records of the birds on the park islands themselves. One of the students who's coming along this trip is Rachel Koresh. She spent 2 summers out on Great Duck. Her real specialty is Leach's storm petrel. Leach's storm petrel nests underground in burrows. We think we've got about 5,000 pairs of Leach's storm petrels on the island. So Rachel's going to be checking on some of her nests that she mapped out this summer. And we expect we'll find at least a few chicks still, because we found chicks in the burrows as late as the end of November.
Got it. Hey, chick. No? Oh my, hello. This is a petrel. Leach's storm petrel. Oh my, cute. They have the tube nose there and their little web feet. Sometimes they're all torn up because they're pelagic, so they go way out to sea and the fish bite their feet. They eat algae, and if they're really stressed out, they'll puke it up. It's like this really nasty smelling reddish goop. Not much is published on them, so there's still a lot of questions that are unanswered. This one still has a lot of fluff.
The petrels only actually come in and out of their burrows way after dark, and so they're quite hard to study on the island. We see them a long way offshore. They may go as far as 100 miles offshore to go feed, but in order to avoid predators, they only come back to the island after dark. It's so important, both in terms of education and also just general understanding of nature, to actually get out and experience it firsthand. And so this is what Acadia gives us this wonderful gift of being able to do. I can take my students literally across the road, and we're into this living laboratory where everything's happening. It's not in textbooks, it's not in video. When they ask me, what are we going to see today? I can honestly say, I don't know. And that's why it's science.
Our time with these students demonstrated the power of park experiences to fuel curiosity and the power of science to explore important stewardship issues. What will the future bring for America's national parks at this dawn of a new century? Perhaps Abraham Lincoln had the right perspective when he said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it."